these 4 roles just might be decimating your creativity. If your creative work is consistently kind of leveling off, these 4 roles might be your prime suspects. My name is Jenny Velarde. I'm a psychotherapist, and just as importantly, I'm an artist. At first glance, these roles can seem like they are work-friendly, but in actuality can completely stall progress when they play too large a part. Seemingly useful roles that at the heart of it can tend to cause more destruction than helpfulness when they're left to their own devices. I call them the intruder roles, the perfectionist, the busy one, the muse, and the expert. I call them the intruders because that's just what they tend to do, intrude, as these are roles that tend to balloon in our lives so much that they push other roles that we play out to the peripheries. We'll examine each role one by one. As we're moving through them, assess for yourself if one or more of these roles is regularly played out in your life. If so, it may be crowding out the opportunity for other roles to really come to the forefront, to really shine, including the artist role. The perfectionist. At first glance, the perfectionist in us appears to be a connoisseur of fine work. It aims to perform at the highest level and deliver impeccable standards. Its goal is to offer a pinnacle of excellence, and it won't stop until that's accomplished. It's uncompromising. It's also unrelenting. For those of us who have played out the perfectionist role with regularity, we know it's a rigid role, almost to the point of paralysis, and it's constantly driving us towards an end game that is actually a myth. Perfection, a role with self-imposed, unrealistic standards. No matter the perfectionist's final product, the role can easily find fault with it, skirting consistently on the very dangerous territory of burnout because it rarely feels satisfied. It can lead to us feeling drained and unfulfilled, and even more seriously, a recent meta-analytic review showed that perfectionists had a higher rate of suicidal ideation. The perfectionist role is often an excellent space within us to store away unfinished explorations of finding self-worth and acceptance. If this is a role that is coming up consistently for you, maybe consider finding a therapist that you can really trust. The busy one. At first glance, the busy one role in us appears to be the one that can do it all. It presents as the consummate multitasker. It's the role that is constantly spinning plates. It presents like it can take on anything. At times, it can actually veer us into kind of the Wonder Woman superhero realm. And the busy one can be like an energetic hurricane. Even in just talking about the busy one, we might feel a pressure mounting in our bodies. It's a role that is constantly in a state of nervous system arousal, which can go hand in hand with generating feelings of anxiety. It's a deceiving role, convincing us that our self-worth comes from how much we can cram in, which may not actually be effective. Our brains are actually not built for excessive multitasking, particularly when it comes to technology. A study showed that participants that engaged in regular media multitasking, for example, demonstrated a decreased ability to effectively switch from one task to another and filter out irrelevant stimuli. As an overall, this role may keep us involved in a lot of things, but ironically, it can lead to us feeling isolated as we can't slow down enough to truly experience in the present moment. The Muse. The Muse is a role that we wait on for inspiration to strike. When the Muse is within us, in our midst, all of a sudden, we feel effervescently enthusiastic to do our work. When the Muse is present, creativity is flowing with ease. It's a romantic work state. Well, more accurately, it's a romanticized work state, and a fickle one at that. When we are in the habit of waiting to start our work, once the Muse comes, we're actually more in the habit of just waiting for the time to be right, waiting for the mood, waiting for the environment, waiting for the spark. And deceivingly, we convince ourselves that we can't work until the Muse arrives. Feel free to watch my episode on inspiration and how true inspiration may actually be a little bit more dependable than we think, as backed by research. The expert. The expert presents as the voice of a particular theme or subject matter. It can be an extremely useful role, as it can serve as a teacher, a mentor, and a guide. Though when it comes to creative progress, the expert role can actually lead to a severe standstill in two seemingly opposite ways. The first way, the expert role can stop us in our tracks when we have an inherent drive towards doing something, though we feel that we aren't allowed to yet because we aren't an expert. When the role is overshadowing us, we put self-imposed limitations over what we think we're allowed to do. Oftentimes, when the expert role is looming, we assume that others will judge or shame us, kind of shaking their heads with disapproval, thinking, well, who gave them the right to do this? They're not an expert. The second way, on the reverse, sometimes the role can be the near opposite, where we want to step into it too quickly without having done the work beforehand. So rather than actually investing the time it takes to become an expert at something, we want to skip to the front of the class and get the accolades of being considered an expert without actually having gained the wisdom and or knowledge that is inherent to the role. So it's a role that can sometimes serve to frighten us as we feel we aren't enough to take the leap, or we don't invest enough in it, leading to glossing over the learning and growing that can serve to really enrich us and those around us. The intruder roles. Do you play out one or more of these roles with regularity? If so, which ones? Feel free to share in the comments below. You most certainly are not alone, and it would be so great to see you supporting each other in this. Furthermore, identifying the role is your first step towards shifting into a different role that perhaps might feel more effective. By calling out these roles when we play them out, we are offering ourselves the chance to dig into our creative work with greater ease. And if any of these roles are serious players in your life, check out the procrastination system. It's a system I developed, and as part of segment 4 in the procrastination system, we demystify these intruder roles in full detail while both repurposing and revamping the roles to make them extremely effective within our creative work life. Remember, all roles have parts of them that are useful. So it's really about finding the parts of the intruder roles that work well for you. Now go and create. You were created to. Now here's the thing about procrastination. With the right tools, it can be our greatest helper. Without the right tools, it will take us down, shamelessly stealing days, months, years, and even decades from us. And it doesn't stop on its own. The procrastination system, 6 hours, 5 segments, 20 chapters, custom-built tools and concepts reinforced by up-to-date neuroscience. Turn your inaction into traction. The link's below. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. If this episode was useful, I would love for you to hit the like button and perhaps share it with somebody. For more tool-based, actionable, creative content, please make sure to subscribe. Also, if you have a question about creativity or the artist role that you would like to have answered, please leave it in the comments below and it may be featured in an upcoming episode.